would be. If you ask women and girls what their main fear would be should the world end or society around them collapse, they're going to tell you that part of their fear is what men are going to do to them given the opportunity. And I think part of that is because women are walking around with the knowledge that what stops a lot of men from doing awful things to them is the idea that there might be a repercussion for them, for the man, if they were to be caught and found out, that society would know that they had done this thing, would judge them, that they would go to jail, like whatever. If you're a guy listening to this, I want you to think really carefully about some of the dudes that you know and what they would do to women and girls if they could guarantee that they would never be caught. There's a really poignant scene in The Walking Dead where one of the male characters says something like, if these guys find us, our men are going to be dead and our women are going to wish that they were. And as a former humanitarian aid worker, I was warned about this all the time. I was warned, like, if you go there and you are taken, they will kill the men, but what they will do to you is going to be so much worse. And also, as a humanitarian aid worker, I have been to countries and spoken to people who witnessed society collapse and the chaos around that because of like extreme weather events or natural phenomenon or even civil war. And the one thing that every one of those scenarios had was women and girls being raped and sexually assaulted. I went to Haiti in 2010 after the earthquake, and I also went to Pakistan after a flood happened in the same year. And in both countries, I spoke to women who were raped or sexually assaulted by men within the chaos, because men seized their opportunity to do something to these women and girls, knowing that it was highly unlikely, because it was chaotic, that they were going to be caught and held accountable for those actions. And the same thing happened when I went to Jordan a few years ago to speak to Syrian refugees. The women there told me of being raped and sexually assaulted when they were in Syria, when they were trying to escape the civil war, and also after they'd moved to Jordan and were living in refugee camps. Like, they were afraid to go to the toilet. They moved around in packs. Like, there was this knowledge in the back of their mind, like, there are men here who will seize the opportunity to do something to me because they don't feel like anything's going to happen to them as a result of doing that. Imagine being a man and only having to worry that the world might end or society might collapse, and not also having to worry about what the other gender will do to you if that happens. Like, some things are worse than death. And women are walking around with the knowledge that what keeps them safe is this tiny thread of a threat that men might pay the price if they do something like that.
I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Salutations to the Akim out there, men, women, and children whom the Lord has foreordained to be part of that number, to be part of the one third, the great multitude. Shalom. This lesson, it's going to be based on the video that you just saw. This humanitarian aid worker speaking about her experiences, working in situations where society has collapsed or in chaotic situations. She gave the examples of the earthquake in 2010 in Haiti, working in Jordan, Syria, when they were fleeing Syria, women were fleeing Syria, and speak about the fact that in all those situations, in all those chaotic situations where society collapses and there are no rules, women inevitably get raped, and sexually assaulted. And this has been a part of human culture for a very long time, and it's gonna happen even more so, when society collapses on a massive scale in the end of these days. Right. So we're gonna read through a couple of scriptures, bring out a couple of examples, from the scriptures of when this happened, you know, just to bring to the forefront that this is a reality. A lot of women right now, especially women over here in the Western world, you know, are very proud, very puffed up. They're enjoying a type of life that is only afforded, by them to from Western culture. They're put on a pedestal. They're quote unquote sexually liberated. They are beyond beyond what you call it now, reproach. And they're celebrated. You know, as being the the pinnacle of perfection, pretty much, you know. I don't. So let's just read, a couple examples. This is Isaiah 32 and verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. And if you take a look at how Western women behave, you will find particularly that among our people, among so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, those women behave the loosest. Those women are the ones who are the most careless. Those women are the ones who are living at ease, living as whores, living, the most disgusting lifestyles, and without correction, right? Many days and years, scripture says, shall ye be troubled. Why will ye be troubled, right? Because of the reality that this woman just speaks about. Because when society collapses on a massive scale, and we're not talking about isolated events like an earthquake in Haiti, or just evacuations or running from persecution in a civil war. We're talking about massive worldwide. When the time of Jacob's trouble come, it says, many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail and the gathering shall not come. Society is going to collapse. The money is going to collapse. The rules and laws that protect you and that afford you the liberties and the privileges that you know have and that you know exploit are not going to be there. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones, strip you, make you bare, gird sackcloth upon your loins, right? They shall lament for the teeth, for the pleasant field, for the fruitful vine. Now let's read a couple examples. This is from Zechariah chapter 14. All right, it says, behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. And hear how it describes it. The city shall be taken, the houses rifled, and the women ravished. Half of the city shall go forth into captivity. The residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. If you look up that word ravished here in the Hebrew, let me just get it, the women ravished. The word here is sagal in the Hebrew, and it means to violate, to ravish. Let's look up the dictionary definition for that word. Look up. The word ravish means to seize and carry off by force, right, of a man raping a woman, right? So that's what it's talking about. To violate, to ravish, to be ravished. Strong's info. To copulate with the lie wish to ravish, right? So let's get another example. Isaiah 13 and verse 15. Every one of them that is found shall be thrust through, and every one that shall be joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes, their houses spoiled, and what? Their wives ravished. Right? So read another example, Lamentation chapter 5. All right, we're just going to read verse 1 and jump down to the point. This is speaking about the siege and fall of Jerusalem in 586 BCE, by the Babylonians. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless, our mothers are as widows. All right, let me jump down, to verse 11. It says, they ravished the women in Zion and the maids in the cities of Judah. Princes are hanged up by their hands, the faces of elders were not honored. Right? So this is another example of that you know. And so we come to the understanding why the scripture says, you know, that men will be precious in those days. So we jump to the first scripture that we read, Isaiah 32, and jump to the top. It says, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness. That's Yahushai. And princes shall rule in judgment. That's the men of the elect, starting with the 144,000, right? A man shall be a hiding place from the wind and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Because at the end of the day, right, the reality is the un the 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 unflinching truth is that the only thing that protects a woman from man is another man, right? Whether or not you want to admit it, no, you know, you're gonna admit it in that day. A man shall be a hiding place from the wind, right, and a covert from the tempest, right, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Right. Let me get another scripture that was not on the list, but just came back to mind. Right. Uh, Seems to be taking a while to load. All right, here we go. This is Isaiah 30, same Isaiah 13. Could have just jumped back to that and read up. Right, Isaiah 30, verse 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man the golden wedge of earth. And this man is speaking about specifically a man of the Lord, a man of integrity, a man whom the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is dealing with. Because at the end of the day, that's gonna be the only protection, from what's out there, from men trying to ravish you and have their way with you. You know, that's why a man is gonna be precious in those days. Right? So we're gonna scripture and wrap up here. Right? This is Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Why? Why are all these women gonna be trying to join on to one righteous man? Because that's gonna be their protection, that's gonna be their salvation, their deliverance from the time of Jacob's trouble, from men doing to them, what they will, you know. So hopefully, this lesson was edifying. Till next time, shalom.